Hello and welcome to Firstpost America, your home for the biggest stories shaping the US and the world. I'm Kerry Johnston, live from the Firstpost studios. Our top story on the show today. The big freeze takes hold in America's northeast. Millions of people are under weather alerts, with several states declaring emergencies. Also on the program, violence erupts in Mexico after its most wanted drug lord is killed, but the cartel is fighting back. Iran-US tensions continue to rise as Iran's supreme leader prepares for the worst with a leadership contingency plan. And Greenland's PM says no thanks to the US president's offer of sending a hospital ship to the Arctic island. America's northeast is in the grip of a raging storm. A wall of white has put nearly 59 million people under weather warnings. It's turned one of the most densely populated corridors in the US into a frozen emergency zone. From Maryland to Massachusetts, blizzard warnings are stretching across the coast. Several inches of snow have buried large swathes of the region. The mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, says it's a serious situation.
We are declaring a state of emergency and instituting a travel ban starting at 9 p.m. this evening and ending at 12 p.m. tomorrow. The state of emergency closes the streets, highways, and bridges of New York City for all traffic, cars, trucks, scooters, and e-bikes, with some specific exemptions for essential and emergency movement. We are asking New Yorkers to avoid all non-essential travel. These are blizzard conditions. New York City has not faced a storm of this scale in the last decade.
Well, streets, highways and bridges have been shut to non-emergency traffic. Schools are closed and visibility has dropped so dramatically that Wall Street skyscrapers were barely visible from Brooklyn. For the first time in 9 years, New York City is under a blizzard warning, with New York's governor saying it could be an historic storm.
It's the first blizzard warning for New York City since 2017, first for Long Island since 2022, and these are just the warnings. This is a real blizzard that is going to be happening here. So I want to be clear, for our neighbors on Long Island, this could be an historic storm, and the vulnerability is great. The possibility of flooding is significant, so we're encouraging people to vacate from those areas and be prepared for a very, very dangerous situation.
Emergency rescue workers have fanned out across the city. They're moving homeless New Yorkers into shelters, and more than 100 National Guard members are on standby. At least 150,000 households across the Northeast are already without electricity. As of Monday, the number of outages in New Jersey later climbed to 80,000. Officials are warning of moderate to major coastal flooding from Delaware up to Cape Cod, threatening waterfront roads and properties. States of emergency have also been declared in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey and Rhode Island. New Jersey suspended public transport and warned it could be the state's worst storm since 1996. Connecticut suspended commercial vehicle travel on highways. Rhode Island's governor activated the National Guard and imposed a statewide travel ban. And in Pennsylvania, the governor signed a disaster declaration. The storm has paralyzed air transport as well. According to reports, more than 5,000 flights were cancelled early on Monday, with thousands more delayed. And on Sunday, roughly 5,500 flights had already been scrapped. Airports in New York and Boston reported widespread disruption. Food delivery services suspended overnight operations in New York City, and the New York Racing Association cancelled 8 races at the Aqueduct racetrack. Officials say that the heaviest snowfall will hammer the region overnight into Monday, with whiteout conditions reducing visibility to 400 meters or less. Well, as the snow piles up, communities are hunkering down as America's northeast braces for further significant weather disruption. The most wanted man in Mexico is dead. Mexican authorities on Sunday confirmed that Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, was killed in a military operation in the western state of Jalisco. For years, he was considered one of the most powerful and violent cartel leaders in the world. He led the Jalisco New Generation cartel, said to have been formed in 2009. The US classified it as a terrorist organization, which rose to become Mexico's most dominant cartel. Washington had also placed a $15 million bounty on El Mencho's head. He was accused of trafficking massive quantities of cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl into international markets, including the US. According to Mexico's defense ministry, the raid resulted in the deaths of 4 cartel members at the scene. 3 more suspects, including El Mencho, succumbed to injuries inflicted during the raid while being flown to Mexico City. Well, according to authorities, the cartel members possessed rocket launchers capable of bringing down aircraft and destroying armored vehicles. President Claudia Sheinbaum praised the military operation and urged citizens to remain calm. But within hours, cartel retaliation erupted across Mexico. Highways were blocked with burning vehicles, and thick columns of smoke rose over cities. The wave of violence that spread across the country has reportedly claimed 14 lives so far, and Mexican authorities have made their position clear.
We will go after those responsible, and these actions that in some way challenge the state will not be allowed, not by the state nor by any security force.
In Puerto Vallarta, a popular beach destination, tourists described chaotic scenes. Flights were suspended by major carriers, including Air Canada, United Airlines, Aeromexico, and American Airlines. At Guadalajara International Airport, stranded passengers waited anxiously as departures were delayed or cancelled. Meanwhile, residents near to the unrest have voiced their concerns.
We have the peace of mind of not being so close to them. It's good that they're finishing with all these organizations, but there's fear because of these situations that are happening now. You don't know how to react or what to do at these moments.
International reaction was swift. Several countries, including the US, India, and Canada, issued advisories asking citizens to take shelter and stay indoors. Senior US officials also celebrated El Mencho's killing. It follows months of pressure from President Donald Trump over the influx of drugs and migrants across the border between the two countries. The White House confirmed that US intelligence support played a role in the operation. And after the incident, Trump posted a cryptic message on his Truth Social platform, saying that we are winning too much. He had earlier threatened a Venezuela-like attack on Mexico over its drug cartels. So the question is, does killing a cartel boss dismantle the machine? Because in Mexico's long war against the drug bosses, winning one battle does not necessarily mean the war is over. Now, Microsoft's appointment of Indian origin Asha Sharma as the next Xbox CEO raises uncomfortable conversations about race and merit. Stay with us for that. But first to Iran, where the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has reportedly drawn up contingency plans in case he's targeted in the possible US or Israeli strike. According to a New York Times report, Khamenei has instructed senior aides on what to do if he's killed. Multiple successors have reportedly been named for key military and political posts, and even decision-making powers have been delegated to a small inner circle in case communications are cut during a conflict. At the center of this plan is Ali Larijani, a long-time loyalist and former senior official. He's currently in charge of key state affairs and is said to be overseeing internal security, handling sensitive talks with the United States and coordinating with regional players such as Russia, Qatar and Oman. Well, these developments come as Trump weighs military options against Iran. Tehran has responded by saying any US attack would be seen as an act of aggression.
And with respect to your first question concerning the limited strike, I think there is no limited strike. An act of aggression would be regarded as an act of aggression, period. And any state would react to an act of aggression as part of its inherent right of self-defense ferociously. So that's what we would do.
Meanwhile, Trump has given Iran a deadline of 10 to 15 days to reach a nuclear deal or face consequences, warning that all options remain on the table. The US wants Iran to give up its nuclear enrichment, which Tehran maintains is for civilian purposes only. US envoy Steve Witkoff has claimed Iran is not far from producing bomb-grade uranium.
They've been enriching well beyond the number that you need for civil nuclear. It's up to 60%. They're probably a week away from having industrial grade bomb-making material, and that's really dangerous.
Meanwhile, Iran had reportedly struck a secret arms deal with Russia in December last year. The agreement is said to include thousands of advanced shoulder-fired missiles aimed at strengthening Iran's air defense over the coming years. The two countries have also stepped up military cooperation and held joint naval drills as US warships increase their presence in the Gulf. Well, Iran and the United States are set to resume nuclear talks in Geneva again this week, with Oman acting as a mediator. Iran says it's preparing a draft proposal to avoid military confrontation. But on the streets, unrest continues, with youth-led protests entering a second day, fueled by economic stress, sanctions and anger over the government's crackdown. All eyes are now on those Geneva talks as the world watches to see whether dialogue can prevent another war. Now, Greenland has delivered a firm message to the United States. The Danish Autonomous Territory has rejected Donald Trump's offer of sending a hospital ship to Greenland. It follows his repeated threats to seize the Arctic island. In a blunt response, Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen on Sunday declined Trump's proposal with a no thanks remark. Nielsen drew a sharp contrast between Greenland's free public healthcare system and America's costly model. He stressed that the island valued its own welfare framework.
That will be no thanks from us. President Trump's idea to send a US hospital ship here to Greenland has been duly noted, but we have a public health system where care is free for citizens. This is not the case in the United States, where going to the doctor costs money.
On February 21st, Donald Trump posted on social media that his administration was planning to send the ship. He described the move as humanitarian assistance for people in need of medical care.
Governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, we are going to send a great hospital boat to Greenland to take care of the many people who are sick and not being taken care of there. It's on the way.
Well, following his proposal, Trump didn't provide any further specifics on which ship would be sent or whether the mission had been requested by Greenland or Denmark. It's worth mentioning that the US Navy operates two hospital ships, the USNS Comfort and the USNS Mercy. So while rejecting Trump's offer, Greenland Prime Minister emphasized that they also remained open to dialogue and cooperation. He stated that the US should hold direct talks instead of putting it all on social media.
But talk to us instead of just making more or less random outbursts on social media.
Meanwhile, the Danish Prime Minister also reacted to Trump's proposals.
I am happy to live in a country where access to healthcare is free and equal for all, where insurance or wealth does not determine whether one receives dignified treatment.
Well, President Trump's proposal came on the same day as Danish forces carried out a rescue operation off the coast of Nuuk. A crew member from a US submarine was evacuated after requesting urgent medical attention. Denmark's Joint Arctic Command said the crew member was airlifted to a hospital in the capital. In Greenland, as in Denmark, healthcare remains free for citizens. Across the vast Arctic island, 5 regional hospitals have served scattered communities, with one in the capital, Nuuk, serving patients from all over the territory. Greenland, Denmark and the United States launched diplomatic talks late last month. The aim was to diffuse the growing crisis between the three sides. Well, the move followed months of strain within the NATO alliance, triggered by Trump's repeated threats of acquiring the Arctic territory. Donald Trump has repeatedly expressed interest in Greenland, saying its vast natural resources are crucial for national security. So now, the hospital ship proposal has marked the latest in a flashpoint that's mounting diplomatic friction between Greenland, Denmark, and the US. Well, Greenland remains a self-governing territory within the Kingdom of Denmark, but in a high-stakes race to dominate the Arctic, even a hospital ship can carry weight. Now, a leadership shake-up has rocked Microsoft's gaming empire. Asha Sharma, an Indian-origin AI executive, has stepped in to lead its Xbox division. Supporters say it's a bold strategy in an AI-driven era, but critics call it Indian nepotism, owing to the CEO's Indian roots. Well, questions over experience, identity, and corporate power are now colliding in something that's anything but a game. Here's our report.
A leadership change at Microsoft has sparked a fierce online debate. Last week, Microsoft's CEO, Satya Nadella, wrote a memo to his employees. He confirmed that Indian-origin Asha Sharma will become the new CEO of Xbox, the tech company's gaming unit. Sharma will be succeeding longtime gaming chief Phil Spencer, who is retiring. On paper, Sharma's resume reflects deep experience in consumer products and artificial intelligence. She joined Microsoft in 2024 from Instacart, where she served as operating chief. Before that, she spent 4 years at Meta as a vice president of product and engineering. Earlier in her career, she held marketing roles at Microsoft. Most recently, she led product within Microsoft's core AI division, working on tools such as Foundry, designed to integrate AI models into third-party applications.
Asha has helped build and scale services that reach billions of people and support thriving consumer and developer ecosystems. She brings deep experience building and growing platforms, aligning business models to long-term value, and operating at global scale, which will be critical in leading our gaming business into its next era of growth.
Microsoft's broader strategy provides important context. Cloud computing and artificial intelligence have become central to the company's growth, even as they require massive infrastructure investment. Elevating an executive with AI expertise to oversee gaming signals that Xbox may increasingly intersect with those priorities. Yet the decision has not been universally welcomed. On X, some users questioned whether Sharma's background sufficiently reflects hands-on experience in the gaming industry. Critics pointed out that she has not previously led a game studio or any console platform, and some argued that Xbox requires a leader steeped in gaming culture. A significant portion of the backlash moved beyond professional scrutiny. Several posts framed her appointment as Indian nepotism, directly referencing Sharma's and Nadella's Indian roots. Others suggested that ethnicity, rather than competence, drove the decision. Those claims have circulated widely, often accompanied by screenshots of her LinkedIn profile and commentary about her career progression. There are some supporters, too, people who believe AI is important for the gaming industry, and how Sharma's expertise in the field might help in Xbox's transition, especially since the current generation of Xbox consoles haven't been as popular as Sony's PlayStation or Nintendo's Switch. Take Nintendo, for example. Its Switch 2 has sold 10.36 million units since its debut in June last year. Sony's PlayStation 5 had 9.2 million units sold in 2025. Xbox's Series S and Series X had a combined sales figure of just 1.7 million units. So yes, the market dynamics are heavily stacked against Xbox. Sharma has not publicly addressed the controversy. In her first message to employees, she said she steps into the role with humility and urgency.
The next 25 years belong to the teams who dare to build something surprising, something no one else is willing to try and have the patience to see it through. We have done this before, and I am here to help us do it again. I want to return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place. It will require us to relentlessly question everything, revisit processes, protect what works, and be brave enough to change what does not.
Ultimately, leaderships are proven over time. Not in hashtags, not in headlines, and certainly not over social media posts. Now all eyes are on Xbox's new leadership in the direction it takes next.
That's it on the show today, but we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice,